Welcome, welcome. Usually I say hello, 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 but welcome to another edition of the review with Heather's Passion Academy. And I am Heather of Heather's Passion Academy. So, welcome. And today we are reviewing season 8, episode 13 of Love and Marriage Huntsville. It is entitled Forecast Sunny or Shady. Y'all, I really hate the way these episodes are named. I don't enjoy them at all. I just don't. I just feel like they just be saying stuff and I don't like it when people just be saying stuff. It just gets on my nerves. Anyway, um so this is picking up after the 3-week hiatus, I guess for the Olympics or whatever. We're playing catch up because just to be honest, y'all, school done started back and, you know, folks be having stuff to do. And I'm working on it, y'all. I'm trying to balance, trying to do this work-life balance thing. I'm working on it. But anyway, we're talking about um basically there everybody's going to the tasting and we actually get to see most of the cast interacting this time. So Uh, we'll see what happens in this situation. Just want y'all to know one thing about this show is that they're going to always be messy. That's just how it is. Anyway, so the episode opens up with Melody and her property preservation class. They are meeting on site, with students. She and her partner are meeting on site with their students, and she says she is on Zoom with some of them as well. I'm like, why don't you have somebody holding the phone and recording you? But you know what? Not my monkey, not my circus. Um, she states that she has produced over 800 new entrepreneurs because of this program, which I commend her for because, the one thing about this show is that you really don't see the business side of everything that goes on. We kind of talk about it, we, hit around the kind of the perimeter of it, but it's mostly about drama now, which is why I stopped watching it for like 2 seasons because it was just too much drama for me and they really wasn't doing nothing. But I'm glad to see something happening business wise. Um, anyway, so she says she remembers Sunny flips properties and she decides to give her a call. So she's calling her and everything. Sunny says, of course, they talk a little bit about Sunny and Moses thinking about moving to Huntsville. Uh, then, Melody all like, oh, I hope they ain't being shady. And but she tells her, maybe they can catch up and talk a little bit at Kimmy's event. But Sunny says she will not be in attendance. So they said they'll talk about it later, but she lets her know that she's going to be announcing a surprise. So she gonna catch up with her later to fill her in on all of that. Okay, let's remember she said she hopes she ain't moving to Huntsville to be shady. Wink, wink. Anyway, so Nell and Chris are at home. They having a nice glass of wine, and they're talking about the conversation that they had with Dr. Francis. Now, the thing with Nell is she want to call out her kids for being a certain way, but she don't want to be called out for that same way, which I think is funny because Nell, your children problem is you. A lot of these things uh you orchestrated because you said that you bailing them out and all these types of things, and just the way you talk to people, especially your kids, is probably some of the reason why they act the way they do. Anyway, she says she don't understand why everything is about her and not them. Chris says, well, maybe he's trying to find the foundation of where everything started. And again, when you point one finger at your kids, you got three of them pointing back at you. That's all I'm saying. Um, she keeps saying what her issue is that she just need her money back, but she is really missing the point because it's not just about they owe her money. It's some other things. So Chris lets her know in order for her to see change in the kids, there's going to have to be change in the two of them. And, I guess she agreed with it reluctantly. No, I think she reluctantly agreed. Kimmy and Maurice are showing up, at their tasting event. They're there to talk to the young lady that, is doing the cooking and everything. I really like to see, again, how we're introducing people that are part of the community into the show and how we're giving back. So that's great. Of course, Melody shows up first, um, giving very much main character. Yeah, I know y'all be defending Mel and everything, and that's fine. Again, like I said, I don't care for any of these people nobody on this cast is my favorite. Everybody, all of them have very visible flaws, and all of them can get checked when they need to. So that's that on that. Anyway, so they all have a celebratory mimosa. That mimosa must have hit real good because they were really quiet after they sipped their mimosa. Um, and so she wants to ask Mel if it's okay for her to make an announcement during the tasting. Kimmy like, "What kind of announcement you talking about?" But Mel assures her that it's gonna be a good one. So don't worry. I'm like, not with this cast, you always gotta worry. So then Nell and Chris have walked in. Marcel and Tisha walked in. Maurice was like, "Tisha, you gonna be on your best behavior today?" Cause and she was like, "I be on my best behavior." And he was like, "Oh, no, I think you just be acting a fool for birthday parties or something." Now Tisha says she gonna be all about communicating. And I'm like, girl, Tisha, hush. Anyway, so Mel decides to ask them, speaking of communicating, wants to know what's going on with Black because she sent some students over to go to Black after class or whatever. Tisha was like, now was that your students? Was that millimeters now? Tisha, hush, hush. Anyway, after back and forth, Marceau says it's gonna be down for a week. They gotta get some things resolved, something to do with the furniture and paying taxes. And Mel says she don't be having them issues with her business, because Mel, you know, be like she don't never have hiccups with her business. Anyway, and y'all know again, I'm just sick of this cast to be honest. Anyway, next scene. The group heads into the very tight room as you see everybody starts showing up. You see Ken and I was about to say Barbie, Ken and Trish, and Stormy and Courtney's there. You got some other people who are unnamed non-cast members that have come to the tasting. Child, they had quite a few courses there. Everything looked like it was good. I don't even know where they had the room for everything because she was like, the first course is like chicken and dressing, and the second course is like shrimp and grits. Like those are two whole meals. Them not courses. But while they're eating, you get to see some conversation happening. Everybody seems like their spirits a little perked up. Maybe they just need more food on these shows. Maybe they'll feel better. So when they're eating, um, they start talking a little bit about the drama, of course, because they got to pull all that in. Nell asked uh everybody had they heard from Destiny. Trish says she trains her. Kimmy says she invited her, but they wanted to know where her mind was considering the stuff with Sunny and Moses. Well, Trish says, well, she's okay, but she got some choice words that she like to say to somebody. And Melody was like, well, why don't she just say it? And I'm just like, "Ugh, stop it. Y'all just can't. Y'all just can't. Uh Tisha was like, was Kimmy one of them folks? So they laughed a little bit. And Kimmy goes on to talk about how um she had a special place for Sunny and that she doesn't have a problem not necessarily with their relationship as far as Sunny and Moses relationship, but she does feel like that some type of um I guess the way that they wrapped it up, they should have done better as far as wrapping things up before she got into the situation. And this was stated to, mostly all of them. So this is not information that would be different from what Kimmy had been saying. in front of Sunny, in front of Destiny, in front of the group. So everybody's talking and um like basically it's kind of a round table discussion over what's going on with this Sunny and Moses thing because we already know this is kind of taking, you know, this is what's taking the space as far as what's been going on. So Mel is over there quiet and in the confessional she's talking about she don't want to be caught up in this group talking. She be saying she don't want to say stuff behind people's back, but I'm like, Mel, you be saying stuff behind folk back all the time. All of y'all do this. This isn't special, but I guess she trying to uh look like she is trying to be um Moses and Sonny's friends or whatever. Kimmy says it was Moses' responsibility to make it known to Destiny what was going on. Um, and then there was a lot of back and forth about who was to blame for the fallout. Chris says, uh, well, Sunny says she was just doing their job. So what we do know is that everybody, when it comes to situations like this, nobody really wants to see where they could have been wrong in the situation or that they're justified in the actions that they take. And same thing with Sunny. Sunny is doing, she was moving a little shady and everybody clocked it. So regardless of what been going on in the past with other relationships, that was front and center that she's been acting a whole fool.com. So anyway, so she was saying, you know, they're not there to defend themselves. Mel was saying, well, they're not there to defend themselves. That's what she's saying in confessional and everything. And, you know, like I said, everybody want to take up for folks when whatever. Anyway, they shifted over to the gala and talked about how Trisha and X, they talked about that a little bit, and then they talked because somebody said something about your husband. They like, no, that's not her husband. She still got to get a divorce, and so they started talking about Trisha and the X and how they can't seem to get them papers signed, and Marceau pops up and says, well, he did come by my business the other day. And he started talking a little bit about the conversation they had because um he's saying that the guy was, had some kind of feeling some kind of way about her with being with Ken. And he's insinuating that they were in a relationship before the relationship was over. So, it's always a lot of back and forth because it's all these relationships seems to be super, super complicated when they can be simplified by just saying like, hey, we not together no more. And the papers ain't been signed on this here divorce. I think that would be the easiest thing instead of delving into all the personal business that they tend to delve into. Then they started talking about timelines when they started to meet each other, when they was talking, when they started dating, when they was on IG together. And my thing is the more y'all talk, the more guilty y'all sound. Even if it was nothing that happened, not, even if it was nothing that was uh quote unquote wrong. Just all of it just sounds shady. And there's, just being honest, there probably was some overlap. The thing that Ken says, well, whenever uh he would talk to Trisha via DMs, they didn't meet in person for a long time, but he always knew that when the husband was back in the picture, that's when she stopped talking to him. So they were like, well, that's cool too. So again, there's a lot of mess. There's a lot of mess. I just want y'all to get y'all timelines together. Y'all need to get on, get in sync like Sonny and Moses, like they say. Y'all gotta get y'all lie right, because it just ain't working. So, of course, they were very happy about the meal. They told this young lady her food was great. And so then they moved to the dinner guests or the cast to another room because Mel has a surprise for them. So at that time, she's telling them this is a ladies' trip. Tisha asks if she can bring a plus one. Mel says she's inviting some of her single friends, and she's okay with Tish bringing someone because that's Tisha. Excuse me. she's okay with her bringing someone because, as long as she okay with them sharing a room or whatever. All the ladies are in, they will attend. Um, what's this girl's name? Trisha. They told her you gonna have to get a swimsuit. Ken is like, I got y'all, I'm gonna handle that. That's so funny because they keep talking about how shy and stuff she is. And girl's a swimsuit. You probably wore less than that at a competition, a bodybuilding competition. It's okay. You can do this. You can do it. Anyway, Kimmy invites Tisha and Destiny over for fruit and drinks, and they want to know why she didn't come to the tasting. She said she was on a date. They wanted to make sure that she wasn't trying to avoid Sunny and Moses. She was like, "Look, can't nobody run me off from my friends." And Tisha was like, "Well, shoot, girl, they trying to take your friends, and especially that one over there." Kimmy let her know that she did go on a double date with her, and to be honest, she feels like she owed a little bit of deference to her because she was part of the crew that was around during the time that she was going through her biopsy. So that was a soft spot there. And she made it clear that she and Sonny aren't friends, but they are friendly. And that's okay. Destiny knows that, they're making their rounds to the cast and everything. And of course, she know about the house that Martell is selling and that they're trying to move back. But even Martell's like, hey, even still, I'm team Destiny. Destiny then tells them about some stuff that was going down with Martell and Trish that, she um had heard about because of the conversation that Stormy was telling them about. Destiny tells them about the Martell saying that Trish came to his house a couple of times and Trish saying it's not true. Now everybody's face is clicking like, what's going on? So they said they'll have plenty of time to talk about that on the trip. That's when Tisha tells Destiny, come on, you gonna go on this trip with us? Mel invited us on a trip. Destiny was like, "No, girl, I don't want to do this." But y'all all castmates, so it's kind of like we know y'all coming on this trip together. So whatever. Anyway, Kimmy says perhaps this is the time they can get back on track because they got to get to a point where everybody, all of them that's hanging out, gonna have to learn how to be cordial. I agree with that. I don't see it happening for several reasons. I just don't see people letting stuff go. Um, Especially if personal and business kind of intermingles. Anyway, in the next scene, Mel meets up with Sunny to let her know that the ladies ain't feeling her, but to she should come on a trip anyway with the group of ladies that's not feeling her. And she said she want to give her a heads up that the ladies ain't checking for her because she would want somebody to do the same thing so she can make the final decision on whether she want to come or not. I think just what's interesting about when she said that though, she was like, "Yeah, them ladies ain't checking for you," and she's like, "Well, was Destiny there? Why does it matter, honey? If they ain't checking for you, they ain't checking for you." You know. Anyway, and my thing is, this is clearly a pattern on this show. It's just another messy situation. It started with Destiny coming in, being messy. Then Tiffany came in being messy. Then Stormy came in being messy. Then Kiki came in being messy. Then Nell and then Sunny. So to me, it's like all of them come in being messy on behalf of Mel. Y'all can say what y'all want, but that is what usually happens. She introduces them and they do the barking for her and everybody else has to fall in line or whatever. And once they are no longer doing everything she wants them to do, this is how I see it. You can argue with me if you want, but once they have done their job or once they're no longer doing what she wants them to do or once they start to kind of pull back the curtains on, some things they don't agree with her, then she drops them. And then they end up all being friends and then she says, "Well, um these are my coworkers, they're not my friends. So, well, my real friends aren't on the show." And so it just gives me pause to wonder, you know, w- we know that this show is, quite overproduced. We know that a lot of situations that happen on reality shows are orchestrated. not necessarily scripted, but orchestrated. So, you know, I don't know that any of them were friends before the show. But anyway, Sunny says she thought that she and Kimmy had a good meetup, and Mel stirs the pot by saying Kimmy was one of the ones at the tasting saying one thing but saying something else. And then, because I'm like, I don't really see it that way. Kimmy laid out why she was okay with Sunny, but at the end of the day, she's still friends with Destiny. And I think that what got me is, again, Melody was like, well, uh, she said something to, "Are you I wonder if they moving to be messy." So now is she's making it look like, well, she doesn't have the same questions that everybody else has, and everybody would be wondering if somebody's being messy just to be messy. And so, again, I'm not a fan of what's happening here. Anyway, so the way you see that the conversation is going, you can see that Mel is trying to show that she's a real friend compared to the other ladies. She's trying to say that the other ladies are um triggered, and all this other stuff, that Sunny is making them feel that way, and there's a lot of hypocrisy because they weren't on her side when she was going through some things. And I just think the problem with this group is that they're just not friends. And what makes it different, perceived in these different groups and everything. I just think they're just not friends and it's okay. But stop pretending like you are. Because when you say things like, well, these people are my coworkers, and then they start acting like coworkers, don't be upset with that. Um, and pretty much that's where the episode ends. So we'll see what happened when they go out of town together. Now, I do think that there is a difference between how they feel about Mel versus Destiny. And I think, again, I don't know that everybody's um, were friends when the show first started. Of course, I know Destiny and Mel were friends and they fell out, during the divorce and all that kind of stuff. And I think Kimmy just never really was anybody's friend. She just there for the ride. And I think that Tisha just don't know how to be friends with women. This is just this group of people just don't mesh well. I just don't see it. Anyway, Stormy seemed like she was cool. Her mama is, part of her problem, which I think everybody who mama come on this show, they mama is their problem. But yeah, but also, like I said, Mel has said she makes it clear that she don't talk to nobody outside of filming, and it seems like the rest of them have forged friendships, and I think that's another one of the problems there. You know, you can't want them to be your friends, but at the same time call them just your coworker. And at the end of the day, um, that's just what it's gonna be. I really think this trip is a bad idea. I think it's gonna be a mess, but we're gonna watch and see what happens. But thank you guys, as always, for watching this review because it was a hot mess. And thank you so much for tuning in. Please feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. And I'd be so honored if you would support my channel by liking, subscribing, and hitting that notification bell and sharing this review with others if you feel the spirit moving you that way. And yeah, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.